She walked through that door with a portfolio folder clutched to her chest, and the moment she looked up and saw my face, she froze. 7 years. 7 years of silence, of birthday cards that were thrown in the trash, of phone calls I never made, of a life I had to build brick by brick from nothing. All of it came down to this single moment. And she had no idea, not even a whisper of a clue. She was applying for a job at my company, the same building where, 7 years ago, she had stood at our mother's side while they blocked the front door and dropped a diaper bag at my feet like I was the family maid, not a 24-year-old woman with a bus ticket in her wallet and a dream in her pocket. I extended my hand. Professional, calm, controlled. "Bryn," I said. "I'm Macy Savage, HR Director. Welcome to Meridian." Her face went completely white. And what happened next in that conference room with 12 people listening on a live phone line that no one in that room knew was active will leave you absolutely speechless. Stay with me, right arrow, but what happened next, nobody could have prepared for. You need to understand something about my family before I tell you the rest. We weren't poor. We weren't struggling. From the outside, we looked completely normal, a respectable family in Riverside, Ohio. My father owned Savage Climate Control, a small HVAC company. 8 employees, good reputation, church-going, 2 daughters. But inside that house, there was a system, and I was at the very bottom of it. My name is Macy Savage. I'm 31 years old. My sister Bryn is 2 years younger than me, and you would never know it from the way our parents treated her. She was the golden one, the pretty one, the one who got pregnant at 19, and somehow that made her more valuable, not less. She had a daughter named Olivia. Beautiful little girl with blonde curls and eyes that looked just like mine. Olivia's first word was my reaching out to me, her first. Steps were toward me, not toward Bryn. I was 20 years old. I thought helping family was just what you did. It started small. Can you watch Olivia for an hour? Then 3 hours. Then all day Saturday. Then overnight. By the time I was 22, I was essentially raising my niece while Bryn tried to become an influencer. I am Bren. Not joking, running a lifestyle blog called Mommy in Motion with 14 followers. She posted aesthetic photos of Olivia in boutique outfits my parents bought and wrote captions about motherhood and sacrifice. She never mentioned that I was the one doing the actual mothering. The blog failed. Then she tried essential oils, lost $800. Then photography. Booked 1 wedding, delivered the photos 3 months late, got a terrible review. But my parents, they never once told Bryn to get a real job. Instead, they told me I needed to help more. Your sister is trying, my mother would say. She's building something. You're just here. I was more than here. Every morning by 7, I was answering phones at Savage Climate Control. I was scheduling 4 field technicians across a 6-county service area, processing invoices, managing the customer database, handling accounts receivable and payable. When the office manager quit in 2017, I absorbed every single one of her duties. My father never gave me a title, never put me on payroll. When I asked about payment, he said the same thing every time. Family doesn't pay family, Macy. This is how you contribute. I did the math once, late at night when I couldn't sleep. 35 hours a week at the office. 30 more watching Olivia and Tyler Bryn's second child. 65 hours of unpaid labor, every single week, for 3 years. At minimum wage, that was over $65,000 I had quietly given them. But it wasn't about the money. It was about the fact that they had turned my entire 20s into a waiting room for everyone else's life. And here is the part that nobody talks about. I had started to believe I deserved it. Right arrow, and just when she thought it was over, she found something that changed everything. In March of 2019, something changed inside me. I had been taking free online courses at night, Google Project Management Certification, Excel, Basic HR Principles. I didn't have money for real college, but I had Wi-Fi and I had Olivia's nap time. I built a resume that worked very hard to make unpaid office manager for family HVAC business sound professional. I applied to 60 jobs over 4 months. Meridian Consulting Group was the only one that called back. Phone screen, Zoom interview. Then an invitation to Columbus for an in-person final round. Executive assistant to the CEO. $63,000 a year. Benefits. Professional development. Travel opportunities. I read that email 30 times. I printed it out and hid it under my mattress like a secret. It was my exit visa. The interview was Monday, April 15th, 2019 at 2 p.m. I needed D to leave the house by 11:30 to catch the 12:05 bus. I had borrowed a navy blazer from my college friend Jenna, slightly too big, but professional enough. I had practiced my answers in the bathroom mirror. I had researched that company until I could recite their mission statement in my sleep. At 10:45 that morning, I came downstairs. Black slacks, white blouse, that borrowed blazer, hair in a neat bun, $17 and a bus ticket in my wallet. My mother was standing in front of the door, arms crossed, lips thin. That look on her face, the one that meant the decision had already been made without me. "Where do you think you're going?" "I told you, dentist." And then Bryn walked in through the side door, Tyler on her hip, Olivia trailing behind with her stuffed rabbit and a diaper bag the size of a suitcase. She looked at me with zero apology, zero acknowledgement, just pure expectation. She set Tyler down on the floor, dropped the diaper bag at my feet. It made a heavy thud on the hardwood. "Olivia needs lunch at noon," Bryn said, already checking her phone. "Tyler naps at 1. Don't let him sleep past 2:30 or he'll be up all night. I'll be back by 4, probably." "I can't," I said. My voice sounded far away. "I have something important." Bryn actually laughed. "More important than family?" And then my father walked in from the kitchen, coffee mug in hand. He wasn't angry. He was amused. That was somehow worse. "Girls like you don't get lives, Macy," he said. "You get duties. That's just how it is." I looked at the clock, 10:49. I looked at Olivia, 4 years old, blonde curls, her little voice saying, my, play blocks. Her trust. Her tiny hands. Then I looked at the diaper bag. Then at my mother, still blocking the front door. Then at my father, leaning against the wall. Then at Bryn, already turning away. Already completely certain I would stay. I looked at the clock one more time. And I did something I had never done before. I stepped. Over the diaper bag. Walked past Bryn. Past my father. Through the kitchen. To the back door. My mother's voice rose behind me. "Macy Ann, if you walk out that door." I opened it. The April air was cold. 47 degrees and gray. The kind of morning that feels like it might rain. I walked down the driveway, turned left, and started walking toward the bus station, 1.2 miles in $12 flats. My phone buzzed 6 times in my pocket. I did not look. I passed Savage Climate Control on the way. The building was lit. My father's truck was in the lot. The sign with his name on it. The place I had worked for 3 years without a single paycheck. I kept walking. I made the 12:05 bus with 7 minutes to spare. Right arrow, the truth had been hiding in plain sight all along. And when it finally came out, I got the rejection email 8 days after the interview. "Dear Macy, thank you for your interest. We have decided to move forward with another candidate. Generic, professional, no explanation. Asian." I cried once in Jenna's bathroom in Toledo, where I had been sleeping on her couch. Then I washed my face and applied to 15 more jobs. I assumed I had simply failed, that I hadn't been good enough. For 7 years, I believed that. What I didn't know was that the day after my interview, my mother had created a fake email account and sent a message to Meridian's HR department. An email that was sitting in my archived file, flagged in red with a note that read, "Do not hire, family concerns." I only found out because of Bryn. April 8th, 2026. I was at my desk reviewing applications for a project coordinator position. 89 applications in 2 weeks. I was scrolling through the spreadsheet names, emails, phone numbers, and then I stopped. Bryn Wright, formerly Savage, my sister. My sister had applied to work at my company. She didn't know I worked here. She didn't follow me on LinkedIn. She had no idea. This was pure coincidence, and it was the most expensive coincidence of her life. I clicked her application. The resume loaded. Clean design. Professional template. Bryn Wright, project coordinator and operations specialist. I scrolled to work history. Savage Climate Control, Riverside, Ohio operations manager, January 2017 to December 2019. And then the bullet points. Managed daily office operations for an 8-employee HVAC company. Coordinated scheduling for 4 field technicians across a 6-county service area. Processed invoices. Maintained customer database. Handled accounts receivable and payable. Reduced scheduling conflicts by 35% through improved systems. Maintain 98% customer satisfaction rating. I read it 3 times. Every single bullet point was work that I had done. The 98% customer satisfaction rating I had calculated that myself in 2018 using customer feedback forms. January 2017 to December 2019, the exact years I had worked there, unpaid. Bryn had never held an office job in her life. She had been a sabotage. Oh, mother. dabbled in a blog, tried MLM, attempted photography. She had worked at Savage Climate Control for exactly 0 days. She had stolen my entire work history and put her name on it, and listed our father as her reference. I opened Meridian's archived applicant files, searched my own name, 2 results. My 2020 application hired, and my 2019 application rejected. I clicked the 2019 file. Interview notes from Patricia, James, Nicole. All positive, self-motivated, impressive initiative, strong candidate. And then the HR notes section, a red flagged entry dated April 16, 2019. Received email from concerned party regarding candidate stability. Recommend do not proceed. There was an attachment. I clicked it. The email opened from concernedneighbor209@gmail.com subject. Concerns about candidate Macy Savage. And silence. In my mind, just absolute silence. Because as I read that email slowly, carefully, word by word, every sentence was either a lie or a vicious distortion. Tian of the truth. It said I had abandoned my 4-year-old niece during a family emergency, that I had a history of quitting without notice, that my behavior was unstable and erratic, that the family had tried to help me but I was resistant to support. I checked the email metadata, the IP address traced to a residential location, my parents' home address. My mother had sent this, the day after my interview. While I was still on the bus home, already imagining my new life, she had already been quietly burning it down. I had not failed that interview. I had been sabotaged. And now 7 years later, her other daughter was sitting in my applicant queue with my stolen resume. And Meridian still had every piece of evidence. Stay with me because what I am about to tell you will leave you speechless. Right arrow, he had no idea that the worst was still coming. I called my father first. Ohio law allows one-party consent for recorded calls. I dialed Savage Climate Control from my office phone. Savage Climate Control, Jerry speaking. His voice. 7 years. My chest tightened, but my voice did not. Hello. This is Macy Savage, HR Director at Meridian Consulting Group in Columbus. I'm calling to verify employment for Bryn Wright, who listed your company as a previous employer. Long silence. Maisie. Yes. Can you confirm that Bryn Wright, formerly Bryn Savage, worked at Savage Climate Control from January 2017 to December 2019 as operations manager? Another pause. Then, yes, that's correct. Can you describe her responsibilities? She managed the office, scheduling, invoices, customer service. She was very good at it. Did she work full-time? Yes, full-time. Very reliable. Would you rehire her? His voice went confident. Absolutely. Bray was one of the best we had. Every single word false, and I had every second of it recorded. I saved the file, wrote one line in Bryn's application. Employment verification completed. Discrepancies noted. Recommend. In-person interview to clarify. Because I wanted to look her in the eye. April 14th, 2026. She walked into that lobby at 9:58 a.m. Target brand business casual. Portfolio clutched to her chest. Nervous smile. Older than 2019, tired around the eyes. Trying very hard. She looked up, saw my face, froze. I extended my hand. Bryn, I'm Macy Savage, HR Director. Welcome to Meridian. The interview began professionally, Jonathan and Nicole flanking me. Standard questions, project coordination, software skills, time management. She answered adequately, nervous but prepared. Then Nicole leaned forward. Tell me about your role at Savage Climate Control. And Bryn, confident, now launched into it. Every single bullet point, word for word, my work, my accomplishments, coming out of her mouth like she had lived them. At 10:22, Jonathan and Nicole stepped out as planned. The door closed. Just me and Bryn. Let's talk about your resume, I said. I slid the printed resume across the table. Poi. Knighted to the Savage Climate Control section. Is this accurate? She hesitated. It was a family contribution, but I did the work. Helped out is different from operations manager, full-time, January 2017 to December 2019. I worked at Savage Climate Control from January 2017 to December 2019, unpaid full-time, doing exactly this job. Every bullet point on this resume. I know, because I wrote them. They are my accomplishments. You put your name on my work history. Her face cycled through red, white, red again. I needed something professional, Macy. I have 3 kids. Danny left. I'm alone. I just needed. I slid the second document across the table. The email from April 16, 2019. What is this? An email sent to Meridian HR the day after I interviewed here 7 years ago, from a fake account, claiming I was unstable, that I had abandoned your daughter, that I was unemployable. I traced the IP. It came from Mom's computer, the day after I walked out. I didn't know about that. But you were there that morning. You dropped the diaper bag at my feet. You watched me leave, and you let them tell everyone I'd had a breakdown. And that is when Bryn broke. You left us. You just walked out like we meant nothing. You don't know what happened after. Everything fell apart. We needed you. She was crying, not delicate tears. Desperate, ugly, spiraling, crying. You think you're better than me because you have some fancy director title? You're nobody. You'll always be nobody. Girls like. She stopped. Because I was looking at her with absolute stillness. Finish that sentence, I said quietly. She sat down, face collapsing. And that is when I noticed the conference room phone. The little red light, the display reading call active. 12 participants. My phone lit up. A text from Nicole. Macy conference line, 12 people listening. System glitched. Line connected early. 12 people had heard everything. Jonathan, Nicole, 3 senior managers, 6 client key holders, and Patricia Holland, my original 2019 interviewer. I looked at the phone. I could have ended the call. I could have protected her. 7 years ago, I would have. But I had learned something in all those years. The truth deserves witnesses. I reached over, clicked the mute button, then unmuted it. Clearly, deliberately. 2 minutes later, my office phone rang. Security arrived. Bryn was escorted out for fraudulent application company protocol. She looked back once from the doorway. My face was calm, not cruel, not gloating, just done. Right arrow, but here's the part that nobody talks about. Jonathan, Nicole, Patricia, and our general counsel sat with me afterward. That was one of the most professional handlings of a conflict of interest I have ever witnessed, Jonathan said. You followed protocol, you documented everything. You gave her every opportunity to be honest. Are you okay? I was surprised by the question. Yes, I said. I'm okay. Patricia spoke next quietly. Why, Macy? I was your interviewer in 2019. I never saw that email. HR flagged your file and I was told to move on to other candidates. If I had known, our general counsel confirmed that I had grounds for legal action. I had recorded evidence of reference fraud. 12 witnesses to Bryn's live admission. The original sabotage email with traceable formed P. I don't want legal action, I said. I just want it on record, and I want to make sure she cannot do this to another company. My family called 46 times in the next 48 hours. Voicemails from my father, this family gave you everything, and this is how you repay us. Emails from my mother, get Bryn that job. Be the bigger person. April 17th, I hired a lawyer. Cease and desist letters went to all 3 of them. 3 weeks of silence. And then May 8th, 2026. An Instagram DM to my professional account. Hi, this is Olivia, Bryn's daughter, your niece. I'm 11. I know you probably won't answer, but I wanted to say that. Thanks for the birthday cards. I kept all of them. Mom threw them away, but I took them out of the trash. I have 7 cards in a box under my bed. Grandma said you abandoned us, but you sent me cards every year. That doesn't seem like abandoning. I miss you. I don't really remember you, but I miss you anyway. Olivia. I sobbed for 20 minutes. Then I wrote back. I told her I thought about her every year on her birthday. I told her she was a brave kid for reaching out. I told her that if she ever needed advice about school, careers, or life, she could message me. I would always respond. She replied, "Thank you. That's enough." 1 month later, she sent another message. Mom got a job at a call center. She's mad all the time. But I got an A on my English essay. I wanted to tell someone who'd care. And I did care. That one relationship salvaged from all that wreckage was worth more than any judgment I could have delivered. 4 months later, Patricia Holland emailed me. Subject. Line. Something you should see. She had found the original unsigned offer letter from April 22nd, 2019. My job offer. Drafted. Ready to send. $63,000. Start date April 29th. Ready and then killed by a fake email from a fake account. You deserve to know you had earned it, Patricia wrote. You were good enough then. You are exceptional now. I'm sorry we failed you. I printed that letter, framed it, hung it on my home office wall next to my current business card. The job I was owed 7 years ago next to the career I built anyway. Today, I am VP of People Operations at Meridian. $115,000 a year. I launched a mentorship program for young professionals from controlling families. Small, Quiet, but it matters. I have savings, therapy, a life I built from nothing, and I have peace. This morning I was training a new HR coordinator, 22 years old, nervous, eager. She asked me, "How do you spot resume fraud?" I smiled. Look for gaps. Look for inflated titles. Look for claims without evidence. And always verify with the actual employer, not just the reference they give you. Have you ever caught someone? Once, I said. It was personal, but I handled it professionally. That is the key. You can have history with someone and still do your job with integrity. She nodded and took notes. I looked at my calendar. April 15th, 8 years since the back door. I had typed a note in my phone all those years ago and never deleted it. The day I chose the back door, I added one word: free. Some doors you walk away from, some doors close behind you, and some doors, like the back door I took 8 years ago, lead exactly where you were always supposed to go. The front door is not always the only exit. Sometimes the back door is the one that saves you.